We're here in the Card Players studio with Mike the Mouth Matusow. Now, he just came in second in the Bellagio Cup III's championship event, and we're going to talk about some of the hands he played. First of all, take us through the event a little bit, Mike. How did it start out?
What'd you say?
How did day one of the Bellagio Cup III go for you?
Excuse me while I wipe my boogers on my face. No, I'm joking. How did number 3 go for me? Day one.
Day one, Bellagio Cup
Day
III.
one was one of the toughest days of poker I ever had. I came into the Bellagio Cup III with expectations very high because I was very depressed at how bad I played at the main event. And I had no interest in even playing the event. I decided that because I played so poor in the main event that I was going to punish myself for 5 more days and try and win the Bellagio Cup. Which gave me motivation. See, my biggest problem is motivation, and this was my poor performance at the Rio was motivation for me to play well. And I thought I played day one there the best maybe I could ever have played. I never got a hand. I actually had like 3 playable hands in like 9 hours.
But you did crack pocket aces, right, with a king-queen?
Well, with 20 minutes to go in the night, I mean, I had to make a move. I was surviving between $3,000 and $5,000 in chips for like 6 hours. And the blinds were like up to 300 and 600, and I just open raised with king queen. He had aces, and I hit 3 hearts and a heart on the river, which doubled me up. And then I doubled the second to last hand of the night with jack queen on I limped in a 5-way action pot, and it came jack deuce 4. They checked to me. I bet like 2,500, and the guy limped one off the button, raised me all in, and I called him, and he had ace 5, and he didn't hit his 3 or gutter ball because it's not online poker, so it didn't happen. And then I got out of the day with 20,000, which is what I started the day with, and. You know, for most people, that's just, I mean, I was still like bottom 5, bottom 10 of the chips, but, you know, I felt like I had a good shot, and I called Phil Hellmuth that night after I was done, and I told him straight out, I said, see what you can get, see if you can get some odds on me for making the final table or winning this tournament. I'm like, because I never played better poker than I did today. And because, you know, we like to make side bets with Ivy and we'll get where we get the good odds and stuff, and I was dead serious. I really believed that I was so zoned in that something good was going to happen out of it. And I went to bed like really thinking I'm going to win the tournament with like bottom, like last 5 positions in chip. I mean, I was like low on chips, so you know, I draw a real bad table on day 2. But
you were pretty quiet on day 2 too. Also,
yeah.
Was that part of your game plan? You were unusually silent.
Well, I drew a real bad table on day 2 to start, but luckily it was the first table to break. And
who was at your table? What would you classify as a bad table?
I'm trying to remember. It was David Oppenheimer, me, a couple other really tight players. I think Dewey Tomko. I mean, it was just a really tough table, and the chip lead, one of the chip leaders of the tournament was to my left. But I really wasn't that worried about it. I was just like, well, I see this table's is gonna break right away, so I came out and took a couple late position raises to pick up the blinds and antes. I was trying to find my spots, which I hit pretty good, so I went from 20 to 24,000 in chips, and then came a real key pot that was probably the keyest pot of the tournament for me, and it really didn't make me many chips, but it was I limped behind 3 limpers with king 9 of spades. David Oppenheimer limped behind, and the flop came jack 10-5. And they all checked, and I checked, and Oppenheimer bet, and I didn't think he had any of that. I just thought he was picking it up in a late position, last to act, and they checked to me, and then I check raised him, and I check raised him a little bit more than minimum, and he called, and I was sure at the best he had was like a 10-9 here, maybe 10 queen, and the turn card came an ace, and I bet 6,000. And he folded. So I stole this pot and got myself up to like 29,700. And it wasn't that many chips, but it was significant.
Confidence booster.
It was a confidence booster, and it was significant because now I just picked up about 5,500 chips that I stole with nothing, and my read was right on. And now I'm up to 29,000. So I've basically picked up a third of my chips from where I started the day with in less than 1 round. And I felt
you haven't even had a hand yet.
And I haven't had a hand yet, exactly. So now I'm thinking to myself, okay, just be patient, be patient, be patient. You got 30,000 now. It's only 2,200 a round. I've got plenty of chips. Stay patient, you know, and don't get too fast. And all of a sudden came like the dream hand you dream of, like when you're short on chips. Guy open raises for 11,800. It came back to me in the small blind. I looked down, I got 2 aces. I call 11,800. And the guy in the big blind just like goes in the tank, goes, "Wow, Mike, you got that hand, big a hand," and he's got like 150,000. He goes, "Well, I got to put you all in," and he puts me all in. I didn't expect that, but that's why I flat call anyhow, and I call. He's got queens, the open raiser's got 9s, and I hold up the aces, and now I pick up 28,000 plus 11 is 39, and after the hand I got 67,000, and now I got a big stack. I steal my way up to about 85,000, and was really dominating, I thought, and misplayed a hand and gave away 12,000.
What hand was that?
I don't remember it, but I was pretty upset at myself. I think I made a continuation bet that I should have just not. And I had about 55,000 after all was said and done, which is great chips. I mean, now average chips is still only like 30,000, 35,000. I got great chips, and then we break the table and we move, and they move me to this other table with about 55,000, and I get big hand comes up against my good friend E-Dub, Eric, what's E-Dub's last name? Eric Weiner, whatever, Eric E-Dub, everybody knows who he is. Where he raises under the gun, I knew he had a big hand, and because he ain't raising my blind from the 1 hole without a big hand, and everybody folds back to me. I got ace king of hearts, so I debated upon just flat folding right here, but I said, no, let's see the flop, And the flop come 4, 6, 10 with 2 hearts.
You were first to act?
I was first to act, but I didn't want to make it look like I got a flush draw. I mean, if I check call, I get, and then a hard hit, I could
you
easily
lose him.
I give away my hand. So I check raised a minimum on the flop, just to make him throw him off my scent of having a flush draw and 2 overs. Which, I got a big hand. Where I'm probably going with it anyhow, and now he calls the check raise, and now I know he's got a big pair. I figured jacks or queens. The turn card come a queen of hearts, give me the nut flush, and now I bet like 18,000. He called, and then the river I moved in, and he's like, "Wow," he goes, "I got a set here." He goes, I don't know how I could fold this. How can you have a flush draw?" And then when he said that, it's because I threw him off by check raising the flop, and he knows I'm not
called.
And he knows I'm not protecting my blind, with like 2 random hearts or whatever. So he called me. He had 3 queens, and I had the nut flush, and I double up to 104,000. And basically after that, that was the key pot that I used. But he might have got away from 12,000 on the river, but it would have been pretty tough. So that was a good break I got. And then I drew a good table draw. With 100,000 chips, everybody was like afraid of me. I was really just chopping it to pieces. I moved my way from 100 to about 206 without ever showing a hand. I mean, I never got
getting that much respect from the players?
They were weak tight. It was a good table. It was a good table for me to control. Everybody was afraid of me. And I thought I'd played as good as I could play there. And pretty much dominated that.
Well, let's move on to the final table. You went into the final table 4th in chips, and Kevin Saul had a big chip lead. He had it the whole time. What was his play like at the final table?
Terrible. He played pathetic. I wasn't worried about him. I was convinced he was going to give the chips away, which he did. He was down to 700,000 in 20 minutes, and rightfully so, because he's young and he doesn't know how to play a deep stack tournament, and he's trying to play fast in a tournament that has this many chips on the table, and he's trying to outplay everybody. And I knew he was going to give them away. And here we're sitting there 6-handed still, and I'm looking at the chip leader. I'm the chip leader with 3.6 million. I've almost doubled up. He's got 700,000, and I'm just playing tight knit poker, And basically, then Shaniak loses his mind, and the guy's on full-blown tilt, and Shaniak check raises them all in with ace high. So he raised under the gun. The guy's raised every hand. He's on full-blown tilt, just giving away his money. And of course, he had a straight draw, flush draw, and he hits it, and he doubles up. But I tell people, there's a difference. He has a 9 or a diamond to hit. I mean, a 9, a jack, or a diamond. And when I got it all in, needed a 4, a 9, or a club. I didn't hit. So he hit his 15 ounce twice. I didn't, and that's why he won, and I didn't. But he was very reckless. He made horrendous calls.
That's what there was one hand where you raised pre-flop, you had pocket nines, you flopped a set of nines, and you bet the flop, you bet the turn big, you bet the river big, and Kevin Saul called you down.
Yeah,
what do you think he had?
I can't wait to see it. I wish I would have bet more. It was obviously he was paying me off with anything. That was the only hand that I even won in like 6 hours. So after that, I blinded myself off like $2 million. But I stayed patient. When you look at the thing and why I got up to second place and gave myself a chance to win is because I am the only one at the final table that didn't make a mistake. Danny Wong made no mistakes up until the hand where he blew up with the 7-6 hand, which was a real easy fold. There's no way the guy's putting in 3.3. The guy made a $100,000 bet. And then
who made the bet? Danny Wong?
The kid. Then got raised $500,000, and then the kid moved in for $3 million. I'm surprised he didn't have 4 or 5. Danny made a big mistake there. So Danny had the big blow up. Shaniak had the big blow up. The kid had 5 blow ups. The other 2 were a non-factor, and I just kept grinding with no cards, trying to survive. I made one $400,000 mistake, not to come over, but the top with the ace-5, but the $400,000 bet on the flop. So I made one $400,000 mistake. Where everybody else just blew up consistently. So I was the best player at the final table, and if I would have hit a 15 twice, I would have won the tournament. I put myself in position to win. I didn't have to play a big pot with the kid, but the kid was putting so much pressure on me that I was going to have to play like my AAA game to try and outplay him. And my game isn't about outplaying people. My game is about trapping people and setting people up. So if I got back to $5 million in chips for him with the blind structure where it was at, there was going to be a lot of fold, and just setting him up. I was going to set him up and trap him for all his chips. That just wasn't going to happen. So, what can I do? It wasn't meant to be, but
I was there watching. I noticed that you showed a lot of your hands. Even you raised, and sometimes you show a good hand. And was that part of your strategy? What was your thinking behind showing your cards?
Well, because I always try and show good hands because a lot of times it allows me to steal from them. I want them to think. I got myself at that final table a table image of playing extremely tight. My table image was sick tight, which I was playing really tight, and it was mostly because I didn't have any cards. But I wanted to get a table image so when the blind structure went up to 40, 80,000, I was going to start moving chips, and that was what my goal was from the get-go. And I was hoping to have around $2.5–3 million in chips four-handed, instead of head up when the blind structure went out, because only having 2.2 million head up really didn't allow me to move chips and get. So that's why when I saw an opportunity to get even in chips with him, I went with it. I knew he had a big hand that hand. He told me he had a big hand because he said, because he kept saying he wishes his friend was there when he wins a tournament, and then he has this big hand. He goes, "Oh, I wish my friend was here now." Right before, and as soon as I knew he had a big hand.
You're talking about the last hand.
Yeah, but I didn't care what he had. Unless he had a set, he's a dog. So I looked at an opportunity to put my money in.
You had a straight flush draw, correct?
Yeah, where I'm 57% favorite, and that's where you want to put your money in when you're trying to double up and give. If I win the hand, there's no way this kid beats me head up. It's impossible. He can raise every friggin' hand, and I'm going to trap him. It's just a matter of when I'm going to trap him, because he doesn't know. He won't be able to raise every hand anymore when he's dead even at chips with me, because he's going to fear me a lot more when I have chips. So the whole complexion of it changes, and I thought I'll give Kevin Saul some respect in this way. After he completely disintegrated and blew up and played as poor as he can play, and then got gifted the chips back, he slowed up and played much, much better. So he actually gave himself a chance to win after he got gifted all those chips back. So I will say that he matured at the final table and realized how poorly he had played. But even so, after that, he still was playing too fast against players that know, like me and Danny Wong know what he's doing. What does he think, that we're just going to let him run over us? Oh, raise. Oh, just run over us. I've been playing for years. You think I'm going to let somebody run over? I'm going to give them the illusion they're running over it. And that's what great players do. You wait to set them up and give them the illusion. So he was never running over anybody. He wasn't the poorest player. Shane played the worst of everybody, but he played the second worst. He made a lot of mistakes. He got gifted the chips to get back in it. He really should have never had a chance, but he did play well after the dinner break, and that's about it.
All right, great. Well, congratulations on your second place finish. We hope that we see you with the WPT title this year.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Thanks, Mike. Lizzie Harrison with Mike the Mouth Matusow for Card Player TV.